Hey, it's Carlos, your MTR guy. So I've not been around a lot lately, and that's because I've been traveling here, there, and everywhere. So do excuse my lack of posts, or maybe you're actually happy that I'm not posting so much. So who knows? But actually today, I just want to talk a little bit about what I've been doing, a few of the experiences, and some of the things that I've seen, and maybe some things that are coming up. But actually, as we lead into next week, so when I'm recording this, it is Friday the 14th of November. On Monday the 17th heralds the start of Microsoft Ignite. Microsoft Ignite is always an exciting show. It is one of those shows that always holds something interesting, something exciting, something new, many new things that people perhaps wouldn't have seen before now. So if you get the opportunity, either dial in, and if you're lucky enough to be one of the ones that's attending, I'm very jealous. But yeah, look, it's going to be another good show, and we'll see what comes from that. However, in the meantime, I've been traveling around, and one of the places I've been to was Tuscany, courtesy of Lenovo for the Channel Council. Once or twice a year, they host a channel council to get industry peer knowledge and opinion, excuse me, around the essentially what the industry is doing and what they can do better and what is being well received, what's moving in technology, the markets, all these kind of things. This year, there was no exception to that. Essentially, we had a very packed schedule. Lenovo do put on a very, very busy event. I'll be honest with you. It's usually 2, sometimes 3 days. But actually, in those 2 or 3 days, there is a lot to consume. Now, this had presence from Microsoft. It had presence from end user customers who I'm not entirely sure whether I can say who they were because it's possibly under NDA. But ultimately, there was a lot of discussion around there. So if you ever get the invitation, do go ahead and accept it as long as you can. But the things that are being discussed, Microsoft were talking about their AI powered strategy, and you'll find that this is a consistent theme as we go through my talk today, because AI powered workplaces is something that Microsoft's new mantra that's moved on from the modern workplace, which obviously got us to a point in time before AI started to really take a good hold on what we do and how we do it within the workplace. So I'm referring to things like Copilot and things like the interpreter agents, facilitator agents. There's things proposed, which you'll hear from the podcast that I've done at Gitex, which will come up later. We'll talk about that later, which is actually around community agents and things like that. So what I want to sort of highlight though with Lenovo is actually the level of investment that they've made to really integrate, bake in the AI component into their technology. Obviously, we're all very familiar with the Core Gen 2 now. A wonderful upgrade from the Core Gen 1, which was in itself a really very capable piece of kit. The Core Gen 2 just takes that much further using AI native chipsets like Intel processors with MPUs built in to obviously to facilitate that. However, that wasn't the only thing they were showing. They were showing display technologies, and then Microsoft were talking about how actually they embed what they do with Teams and Teams rooms in the meeting room place into that. So that was really exciting. Obviously, it's Tuscany, and Lenovo do put on a good show, so there was some entertainment there, and you can't be in Italy without enjoying some of the classic vehicles like the Fiat 500. So if you go ahead and take a look through my LinkedIn profile, you'll see a few little videos from myself and from others actually showing what we enjoyed on the day. So, but it's a lot to go through. So Lenovo do a very, very healthy mix of intense business and a little bit of relaxation at the end. I then moved on to Gitex. So Gitex is a big event. If you're not familiar with Gitex and you're more Western Europe than anything else, Gitex is the Integrated Systems Europe, or the ISE, of the Middle East. In fact, it eclipses ISE in terms of numbers and technology on show. It is a extremely busy event. It's probably the busiest event I've ever been to, and I've been to obviously ISE, Infocom, CES in Las Vegas throughout my career, and this one is hands down the busiest show. I think there was somewhere in the region of 250,000 visitors with over 6,300 exhibitors. It was huge. And the technology on show there was everything from the AI-powered workplace, which we'll come on to with the podcast room that we had there this year. But it had automated baristas. It had robots that would assist you with any number of things, dancing robots as well. It also had other workplace technologies, entry systems. I'm just trying to think, actually. There were so many different things that didn't really scratch the surface because I'm there to work, right? I'm not there to look at the whole show. But actually, one of the things I did catch was the keynote from Sam Altman from OpenAI. and Xiaopeng, who is the CEO of G42 Group. Now, these are AI pioneer companies in their own rights, in their own individual fields, that are collaborating together in the Middle East and Asia in order to bring the next iteration, next generation of AI workplaces. They're working alongside many different companies, including Microsoft, who are helping to enable how we then use that technology. It's a really interesting one. If you ever get onto the Gitex website and they make it available, I strongly recommend you take a listen to that. I only managed to get a couple of excerpts because I was busy listening and not filming, but it's one of those where it was a really insightful thing, and it's very prominent in their minds that AI is a culture that we just need to adopt. It's not one of those things that we need to we're trying to fight or that people are imposing to us. However, again, it was also very clear that that culture has to be distilled from the top down. So, as a business leader, it's very important that you work with manufacturers, vendors such as Microsoft, for example, who are leading the way in these technologies, and you understand how you can best extract the value of that. Now, of course, within the channel, you have other providers such as Ingram Micro, who have specialists that can inform you as to how to best utilize the AI solutions and facility and products that they have in their solution stack to best get the results that you need for your for your customers. Excuse me. Beyond that, then there was a new series of events. There's a roadshow that's been started by Ingram Micro. I'm pleased to say it's an EMEA-wide roadshow, which is commenced in the London area, first of all, in the UK. So this is the Ingram Micro Presents series of roadshows. It's essentially a roadshow to feature AI and what that looks like in the workplace. So again, the constant thread throughout all of this is the AI-powered workplace. So Microsoft, again, leading that. Microsoft were present. We held it at the HP Poly Customer Welcome Center, which is a phenomenal space. If you've never been in there, it's at the Gherkin, or as I call the pickle, the Gherkin in London, which is a fantastic building in its own right. But the center itself, the demonstration center, it's a really good tour. If you ever get the opportunity to experience the technology in action there, definitely do so. You'll be coming away amazed with what HP and Poly are able to really throw at the workplace dilemma in terms of technology and how it's really intuitive, and the results speak for themselves, and quite literally speak for themselves. When you see the tour, you'll understand what that means. But essentially, two people in separate rooms or various people in separate rooms, and they show you exactly what that sounds like, what it feels like to use their technology. Really, really impressive. And we had a great partner event where we were talking about the Microsoft FY26 strategy around the AI powered workplace. So there was a lot of insight that was delivered by Microsoft. Much insight was delivered by HP Poly as well in terms of their solution stack and how that enables the AI powered workplace to happen. And of course, Ingram Micro were there as well to explain how we help facilitate that for you or with you as a channel partner, as one of our valued partners. Of course, there's a lot of different services that Ingram Micro has, and it's how do you consume that? How do you use that to your benefit? How do you add value by utilizing them? And it's not often easy to understand. We're a big company. We're dealing with big companies such as Microsoft, HP Poly, and others. In this case, HP Poly. But so, how do you leverage the best of those companies? And that's what we're there for, as a a value add distributor on advanced solutions. So again, if you get the invitation to come to one of the Ingram Micro Presents European roadshows, definitely take up the opportunity, because you are not going away empty-handed in terms of knowledge, and you're not going away empty-handed either. So we have some good swag too. So yeah, by all means, get on there and see what we have to say. So going back to Gitex, as always, I had the podcast room there. So this year was the Ingram Micro Presents Microsoft Teams Rooms AI-powered workplace podcast room. Such a great roll off the tongue phrase, right? I think for next year we have to come up with something a bit shorter. However, what that meant is that we can get people into that space again, get manufacturers, get partners, and get people talking about what is important to them in that arena, and what does AI mean to them. So essentially, last year in Gitex, you couldn't go 2 or 3 booths without AI being prominent. This year, you couldn't step off your booth without seeing AI on the next one. So it's really become the thing to talk about. However, AI means something different to everybody. What means AI to some people actually means just simple automation to others. and algorithmic automation, possibly. So there's an element of machine learning in there, but is it really AI? Actually, Microsoft explained what that is in many of the contexts that they talk about, in particular with their agentic AI models, which actually helps to facilitate working practices, workflows, and productivity. So, if you ever get the opportunity to hear me wax lyrical about this as well, I have a presentation that really sort of draws out what the essence of that means in pounds and pence and euros and dollars. So, ultimately, it's something that's worthwhile, seeing if you get the opportunity as well. So, but with Gitex, there was a number of different podcasts. So later today, I'll be releasing one which is from our friend Michelle Bowman at Microsoft, who again came in really grateful for his time. He's a very busy individual, and it's really important because he is at the leading edge of what Microsoft are doing in Ilya Bookstein's department, or division rather. And it's not just Teams, it's not just Teams rooms, it's not telephony, it's not other aspects with AI, it's everything. The whole conversation needs to happen at once. And this is something that he explains very well. He also goes into the agentic AI model. So after you've watched this video with Max explaining how we do what we do as Ingram Micro in the Middle East, believe me, it's an eye opener in terms of what we spent on the stand this year, as well as obviously what we're looking to do for the following year. It's well worth checking that out because we have support from various different vendors there. So we had support from Jabra, amongst others. HP Poly were there. Obviously, we just referenced HP Poly, but we had lots of others besides. They're the two that really spring off the top of my head right now, actually, with regards to collaboration. But there were many others that underpin the IT side of things, which AI can't work without, right? So again, AI meaning something different for somebody else. So do take a look at this video. Follow the video series as I begin to release them. There will be a pause, because obviously there's not much point me releasing many videos during Microsoft Ignite because all of the airspace will be taken up by that. But the following week, I'll start to release some further content around Gitex in particular. So stay tuned for that, and hopefully you can join me for another coffee. See you soon. Hello again, it's Carlos. I'm at the Ingram Micro Microsoft Teams rooms, AI-powered workplace, podcast rooms. Such a short title, isn't it, Max? And today I've got a very special guest with me. They're all special guests, but this one's a little bit more special in a very specific way. The reason being is what it takes to put on a show. I know we had a very similar conversation last year, and you may have seen that content from the previous time about what the Herculean effort it takes to put on a show like this. But today I have Max Mateev, who is responsible for heading up the marketing function for the Ingram Micro Golf business. So Max, welcome. Really nice to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure.
Pleasure to be there. As always, as Ingram Micro, it's our 45 participation in Gitex. So
45. Yeah. We've done this 45 times already. We're still not tired.
Yeah. So we only missed the year where it was the COVID, and the next one which was hybrid. But since the very beginning, since 1979, Ingram Micro and before Ingram Micro, Aptec Distribution was always a part of Gitex.
This is really impressive. I mean, you see shows come and go. You see some shows that really sort of last. Obviously, Gitex is one of them. In Western Europe, we have ISC. So they're very similar shows, but they're very different shows at the same time, aren't they? Let's talk a little bit more about Gitex. So Gitex this year has broken records again. I think 200,000 plus delegates, 6,300 exhibitors, of which we're proudly one of them. But that's a lot of noise to need to stand out against, isn't it?
Yeah, and I believe Dubai has always something to propose more. And in terms of the crowd, last year we were just approaching 200,000 people. This year, the first day was recorded with 50,000 people, and the internal target for the event is to break the 250,000 of people from almost all around the world. So we have more than 150 different countries people are coming from. And Gitex for in the last 5 or even 6 years, including this year, it's going to be 6 years, when Gitex is officially, as a part of Guinness Record, the biggest tech show on the planet. In multiple kind of KPIs they measure. They measure the total square feet, the footfall, the number of companies, and the number of countries people come from. So
that's amazing.
Gitex, so Gitex is really the biggest tech show on the planet, and it's not just a slogan. And every year we have more and more people to come. And I had an opportunity to present Gitex to our management coming from EMEA, and I told them that it's good that you came on Gitex week, definitely, but Gitex will show you a kind of an essence of what Middle East business is. Yeah. So if you want to come from any other part of the region outside of Middle East and Africa, and you need to understand the business, how people are networking, interacting, meeting each other, doing business.
Correct. Yes.
That's the right place.
You've got to understand the nuance of what it takes to do business in this region. And it is distinctly different from the rest of EMEA, for example, which I'm on the EMEA team. So, I get to experience a flavor of all of that. And culturally, commercially, in terms of its sensibility, socially, it's a very, very different feel and look about the place. Business is done in a different way, like you just touched upon. You've got to come here and you've got to experience that. I've made the comparison yesterday to one of our partners that came on the stand, and we asked them, what they thought about it. They were absolutely in awe. It's their first time here, and they loved it. And but I said, what's your feel? What's your takeaway of Gitex? And they say it feels like everybody's turned up to present themselves in the best possible office way. Yeah. I've asked them to define that. What do you mean by office way? So, look at the stands around you. They're not dull. They're bright. They resemble functional office spaces that you could walk into tomorrow and see yourself working. And the illustration of that and the extension of that is how people are dressed on the stands. There's not the crazy shirts that you see in some other exhibitions or people very casual. It's much more formal. It's very much suited and booted on almost all the stands, with few exceptions. Whereas if I compare that to IC, for example, IC is more of a circus. Let's be honest with you. It's much more party. There's more bang, whiz, sizzle. There's plenty of bang and whiz here, and it's such a diverse show. From everything from robots and flying cars to coffee machines, door entry systems, Microsoft Teams rooms systems, of course. You can't go without shameless plug in this space here. It's a big show, right?
It is, and at a certain extent, Gitex is a must-have thing. And I wouldn't say we are preparing for Gitex like the whole year. It's mainly 2-3 months of the preparation, and then as the outcome, you have to build the stand in 2-3 days and count each and every nuance and small thing to make this thing working and running. But at a certain extent, Gitex is for the company to show up, at a certain extent to show off, because if you are not at Gitex at all, the business will be questioning like what is wrong. It's not the reason why we were here for all these years, not like this, because we are the biggest in the region, and we always have our ROI and the business driven. So for us, Gitex is not only the investing and showing that Ingram Micro is there. Ingram Micro is alive in a good mood with good stand, lights and everything, but also it's a good source of business. So the investment and the ROI, it was always there. So that's the main thing.
Because it's a big investment, isn't it? I think you mentioned some numbers to me earlier. Are you happy to say how much?
So we basically approached, last year we approached $500,000, a bit of, and now we crossed the $500,000. And
this is dollars?
It is growing. And with this amount of money, we are kind of building a double-decker site that we have stand. And with this amount, you can build a home or maybe a couple of homes. Yes. And then you have pretty the same setup as you have. You just like replace the meeting room with the bedrooms. And here we are. We have the stairs and everything. So Next year, it's going to be a completely different setup. So Gitex, for the first time in its history, is moving to the other location, to the other venue, as a part of the strategy for Dubai. Yeah, it's going to be Dubai Expo, and it will be for the first year in 2026. It will be one level. Starting from 2027, they will finish some of the halls because it's still expanding, and they have a 5 years plan to expand the halls, to add the new entrances, to basically make the experience much better. And from 2027, they will be allowing double deckers again, not for all, because they are still exploring the engineering part of the halls and the roof and all the limitations. But it will be even more transformational for the region. And again, it's like every time that you see that, okay, that was the top. They cannot surprise me even more. But guess what? You're coming next year and you see, okay, that is better, and this is bigger.
But I guess that gives us an opportunity then. I mean, speaking about building the stand, I was thrilled when I saw what the team was able to do in terms of this Microsoft Teams Rooms space. You know, with by the way, let me introduce you to one of our agents. There's a few of them watching you. So these are our co-pilot agents that are keeping track of what we're saying. They're not really, obviously, they're just printouts. But maybe future years we can have something that's a bit more automated, and our podcast will be instantly transcribed and online. Who knows? But this is where you then have technical challenges, but then you have opportunities. Move into a new location, move into a new format. We can explore and try something new that, like you say, we can't have a second floor, but how do we make all of this now happen without compromising on a single story? And how do we now get the maximum benefit with the maximum business potential from what we have to work with in the new location? And it should be a good location, right? Ultimately, it was the World's Fair location, I forget how many years ago, but it's been designed with this in mind, and with the expansion and the facility around it. So I think it holds a lot of promise for sure, but there's going to be a lot of work involved for us to get the flavor of what we want exactly right.
Yeah, definitely. At least once we have in our meeting teams, we have the voice recognition and capturing the titles and subtitles. You can have the podcast easily translated to different languages, and the post production would be much easier with the AI. So we put one of the AI agent on the ground floor. The thing, not the person, the thing we called Omar, which is the absolutely autonomous AI agent. Connected to the internet, so you can literally ask anything and you can get the answer about Ingram Micro, about the product. So even on the back end, we are automating the things, and we make this much easier, because like looking back at the 5 years ago, we had some robots that we had to put like tons of the information on the back end to get him assist the customers and give the right answer. But now we don't need it, since you keep the informational hygiene for everything that Ingram Micro do about the project, products, vendors. We have your job is done.
All of that's in there now, isn't it? So it's in there forever, which is the other thing. That's the beauty of agentic AI. I think it's one of the big discussion pieces for the future. It's actually one of the big, I believe, opportunities. When I spoke with Microsoft earlier in the week, hopefully these podcasts will come out in normal chronological series. So we may know that I spoke with them earlier in the week about agents and agentic AI and how we will become agent bosses. And that translates to the real world downstairs when we're talking about setting this up. I also posted Omar yesterday online, and it's received some very interesting feedback on that, which is good. I think it's nice because it creates that conversation, doesn't it? And we need more things like that on our stand, because that's what Ingram Micro is really all about. We're not about just moving one box from A to B. We're about technology, and technology has to be represented in the best possible way, especially when people have maybe a minute or just a few seconds, 10, 20, 30 seconds, as they're transiting through our stand, maybe to go somewhere else, or if it wasn't deliberately that they were coming here. The technology needs to capture their attention. It needs to be something that they can see, this is interesting to me. Where does this go? Let's explore that. Let's have a conversation. Again, the purpose of the booth, the stand, is to draw that attention to what we're offering, and then have that commercial conversation, have that conversation around what is possible. What's the art of the possible in Dubai? What's the art of the possible in the region? And how can Ingram Micro help to deliver that to our partners and to their customers?
And in many aspects, the Gitex in many aspects creates the platform for collaboration and networking. So it's not just meeting people, but having this synergy between the businesses. When people are meeting lots of other people and companies and getting the information about the brands and the technologies, they start creating this opportunities for the business. Because that's anyway, it's a platform. If you take it really simple, you have the exhibition space and you have built up something, but then you fill it with some content that has to be meaningful and that has to be attractive. And definitely we have something in mind for next year already, how we're gonna impress
this is where I lean into the mic and say, tell me more. Go on.
Yeah, so we are, and hopefully next year will show us the big progress in this. We are about to open the new direction in the business and cover the new sector of IT, which was not always the IT. I'm talking about the gaming industry. This is what Ingram Micro in the Middle East is going to explore more.
Sure.
Not only to explore, just like to get the reports and to assess if we need to go into that. We already did this, and we know that it is super interesting area where we can grow more, and it's a huge industry. Basically, this is the industry that is bigger than cybersecurity.
Yes.
So could it be left behind our attention as the top distributor, IT distributor in the world? And you have a good combination of the hardware and the software and the new technologies, including AI, because we put as one of the slogans for Gitex this year, it's AI in everything.
Yes.
And that is literally in everything.
Yeah.
And I had the conversation with many vendors and I was asking them, like, guys, is it something meaning for you the same as it is? Did you put the AI in everything that you do? In the, like Dell, for example, in the products, in the technology, in your day-to-day life? And that is kind of a new measure. If you're not catching up this wave, then you will be left behind the business.
I think it is inevitable, right? AI is everywhere, like you say, and it's interesting because last year you couldn't go more than 2 or 3 booths stands before you jumped into somebody saying AI something. Yeah. Now it's every stand. This year it's every stand, literally. So you go from ours, you go next door, and it's AI something. Go to their neighbor, AI something, and it is very interesting because AI means something different to everybody. In our industry, we've got various different technology vertical stacks, which are AI had a different representation within those stacks. You go over to something else that's a little bit more of a creative industry, it means something different. More manufacturing industry, it means something different. But I think underpinning that is a core of technology, which is that IT and computing technology. So let me see if I can influence your thoughts for next year. Are we saying that the technology that underpins gaming is something we're going to showcase? Does that mean we're going to have a live gaming league on the stand, maybe that's underpinned by the technology?
Yeah. And that is something that we had before previous years from some of the vendors who are who have the partnership with either Formula One teams or Superbike, MotoGP, and we had this gaming simulation. So that is something that I believe it's we need to go above and beyond this and to present something even more immerse technology and something that would be a blend of AI and everything. Because even if you would compare the Gitex last year to this year, last year they had to build the separate hall for AI. And that's the interesting thing how Dubai is driving the technology by themselves. This year, there is no need to put a separate hall for AI because AI literally came to each and every stand. So we don't need to focus on this and to bring the extra attention to that. It's there. It's everywhere.
It's very good. It's very good. I'm very excited for next year, definitely. So I know you're not going to give too many secrets away for sure. So I won't put you on the spot to ask you any more questions around what the stand would look like, who's going to be there, or
We
anything
don't
like
know
that.
yet. We don't know yet.
You probably do have an idea in your minds. I know how this works. You already start looking at next year before the show's even finished. You give everybody a little break, which understandably they deserve it. Our colleagues do in the marketing team and the technical teams. They do a phenomenal job to put on such a great stand. No, I mean, don't thank me. It's our thanks that we should be giving to you and the team, because without you, without our vendor partners contributing to help make this what it is, we wouldn't have a stand at this show. And you know, the show, without the presence of Ingram Micro and other companies similar to us with the presence we have, it wouldn't be the same show, would it? Let's be honest, because it will feel flat. It will feel empty without us. That a very modest statement, I know, clearly not, obviously, but I mean that in a very sincere way, because it's an effort. It's a huge effort, and everybody in marketing and the technical guys and girls, they're going back and forth constantly trying to make sure this is running smoothly, and it does run smoothly. Even though, you know, yesterday we had technical problems with cameras, it got resolved quickly. We had scheduling issues, they get resolved quickly. But that's not by accident. It's because people are putting the effort in the background.
Yeah, there are lots of learning behind it. And, you know, to have this fixed on spot on the site this year, it's the outcome of the learning from previous years. So
Absolutely.
we are pushing ourselves, we are challenging ourselves, and next year it will be a bit of more challenging for the whole organization, because the organizers, they moved the show to December.
Yes.
And that is the second week of December, because of some of the delays and in the construction and expanding the exhibition area. They had to make this, but we are now trying to convince the organizers to bring it back to October from 2027.
Okay.
Because for all of us to make this show running and then contentful and meaningful, we need to have all the sales team on the site for 1 week, with no exception.
And that's very challenging at financial year end, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also from the ROI, because once you
Of course.
have it in October, you still have majority of the deals happening still this year. Your ROI, the budgeting wise, everything, it have a closing cycle within this fiscal year.
Yeah, it's
So
very difficult to convert that in just 1 week, right?
Yeah. So next year it will be a kind of exception, and we're gonna see how it goes from 2027 and on.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. So I'm not sure whether you heard it here first. It's the second week of December for 2026 for Gitex 2026 at Expo City, I think it's referred to, isn't it? Yeah. Obviously, come to Dubai. Come see Ingram Micro. Christmas in Dubai. Look at that. Pre-Christmas in Dubai.
Pre-Christmas.
That's it. I think it'd be a fantastic
one
time.
of the idea, they put the show, and they wanted to have it in December because they could make it November, is to combine Dubai as a tech show with the staycation, and they call it tech staycation. So that's
a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's they're inventing some of the new formats, and we'll see how it goes.
They're always reinventing things in Dubai. I love that. I think it's one of the regions where everything is a possibility and everything is tested. We heard, and I'm conscious of time here, we have very little left, but I want to say very quickly about AI. And the conversations that were happening previously. At the beginning of the week, there was a keynote with Sam Altman from OpenAI and Peng Zhao from G42, the CEO from G42. And he was talking about how actually UAE is one of those places where they don't talk about doing it, they just get on and do it and trial it. And if it doesn't work, they learn from it and reiterate.
Yeah.
I love that attitude. No, not everywhere can do that. Not everywhere has the resources to be able to do that like they do in this region. But it's a great attitude, isn't it? Figure out what works. If that doesn't work, try something new.
Yeah.
Eventually, you get to the essence of what does work. And I think this has been the Ingram Micro journey as well in this region too, to figure that out.
We have to move faster. Dubai is moving fast. We have to move fast. Otherwise, you will be trapped in this, that horse theory, where you are still trying to fix some of the things that are not working, rather than switch and dismantle from that horse and find another one. And then you want to keep this running, and the business is not waiting. So if you are just stuck somewhere, you will be out of business.
I love that analogy. I have nothing more to say than that. That's a great way to end it, Max. So, Max, thank you very much for your time.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate you being here. Obviously, we've run out of time. It's a shame. We could talk for hours, I know.
Yep.
But onwards and upwards to another Gitex 2026. Like I say, pre-Christmas, come and join Ingram Micro at the stand. Come and see what we've got on show. Come and check out, dare I say, the live gaming league. We'll see if we can make that happen. I'll speak to Max offline in a second. And but no, thank you very much, Max.
Thank
Real
you.
pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you.